A real quick note before we kick off this particular podcast, I'd like to say that this is an audio only podcast. There will be no game footage in this particular podcast, so I would like you to just sit back, listen, and enjoy our soothing voices as we talk about next gen consoles. Thank you very much. Hello and welcome to the FTHcast. I am Free the Hawk and I'm here with two other people. I'm here with Grammaton Cleric. Say hello.
Hello.
And Nitro Strong John.
I'm here. Hello.
Hello. We are all together here to talk about one specific subject. And this subject for this cast happens to be consoles. Specifically, what's coming up this year. Just as a frame of reference, this is being recorded before the Xbox announcement. It has been announced that they are going to announce, but we have not heard the announcement yet of what their next gen is going to be. So
they announced an announcement.
Right. So, and that's all we know. So if this goes out after May 21st, then we're stupid for waiting so long, and we just didn't know what was going on at the time. So, first off, what are you guys excited about the Xbox, or are you still too pumped by the awesome PS4 announcement to even care about the Xbox?
Nathan, do you want to go first?
Sure.
Or Cleric, excuse me. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I don't know, man. All the rumors and stuff I hear about Xbox, it's kind of worries me. So right now, I'm looking forward to PS4. I don't know. They say all the right things, and yeah, their conference was pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
it's looking pretty impressive.
and for me, yeah, I'm definitely all PlayStation 4 right now because they didn't say anything wrong. They definitely said some weird stuff. They definitely said some stuff I didn't care about, but they didn't say anything wrong. And even if Xbox were to match that, I don't think they could do better. So I'm just not too excited. It would surprise me. What about you, Nitro Strong John?
I pretty much agree with what G Cleric said. Like the build up to the PS4 was just kind of like more so speculation of what it was going to be able to do as far as functionality, the new controller, and then but the Xbox, all you hear is online only, more or less just kind of like not necessarily negatives, but just stuff people are kind of skeptical about.
Right.
So I think at this point, everybody's just kind of waiting to see, is it going to be online only? How bad will that suck if it truly is?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, right now I'd have to lean towards PS4 right now.
Yeah, I think Xbox definitely has
Everything they said is just completely focused on video games, whereas Xbox is more trying to be entertainment box pretty much.
Right,
There's not
right.
really a console. It's leaning more towards doing online streaming and all that kind of stuff, which is fine. But as for me, I'm all about the video games.
Yeah, actually, I'd be really. I mean, it's kind of nice if they're going to say, hey, we're going to be an all-around studio box for you to do a bunch of different stuff on it, then I'll say, fine, I'll just get a PlayStation 4 and I'll just play games because I don't need any of that other
Right.
stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I mean. If you're already using, like, Netflix, you have that separately, I guess. I mean, there's no real.
Yeah.
You have no incentive to cancel that and then just get it on your Xbox.
Right.
I mean, you already have that, and if you're just wanting to play games, why wouldn't I get a PlayStation 4?
Especially with smart TVs, yeah, with all that stuff comes preloaded
Right.
on the TV.
Yeah, in my opinion, it's kind of weird. I think what Microsoft really wants to do is they want to get the Xbox and their PC to be more it's kind of separated but connected. Like they don't want kind of like how they messed up Windows 8 and made it so it's really hard to do normal stuff on Windows 8. It's because they wanted Xbox Live to be Xbox Live where all the games are, and they wanted Windows 8 to be Windows 8. And if you wanted to play Xbox Live, you had to have that kind of integration in between it. So
I think too, one of the main things though, obviously for me in this whole, like the tipping scale as far as which one I kind of want to decide on first. I mean, more than likely I'll have both of them at some point in time. I have both an Xbox and a PS3 right now, so but is their online service.
Yeah.
And I think PlayStation, has shown that they know kind of the shortfalls of their existing one, and they want to make that better.
Yeah,
And
they're
I feel like
definitely gonna have to.
Xbox is like, oh, we're kind of, like they feel like they're at the top right now, and I feel like they're focusing more on, like you all said, more features other than rather like, okay, this is what we have. How do we move and progress this? Which I feel like I said, PlayStation is kind of more
Yeah.
focused on.
Yeah, I'm definitely kind of scared for PlayStation because they could all of a sudden end up with a bunch of Xbox users on PlayStation Network, and now they're getting a flood of new users on their services. So then it's even harder for them to make up for some of their their falls. So I kind of worry about that for them, but I don't know. We'll see. I think that'll be the biggest struggle for PlayStation is if they end up getting all these new people. It's just how do they handle them? But so that's that. Okay, so we talked about new consoles. What about games? So we talked about which one we like based on what we think Xbox is going to reveal, and we talked about what we know PlayStation is doing, and we talked a little bit about the multiplayer and the online aspect. I mean, and that was kind of the thing for me that I think is kind of weird about PlayStation Network is Xbox really does make it a lot easier to play with your friends and to communicate with them. I mean, like one small thing is I heard that on PlayStation 3 or the PlayStation Network, if I'm playing one game and my friend's playing another game, there's no way for us to like voice chat. We have to be in the same
Right.
game just to voice chat. And I think that's kind of, it's a small thing, but I don't know. That's something that's really nice about paying only $50 a year for Xbox Live is I can do that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. I can be more social. Thoughts?
I agree. I was on, I think I don't know, it may be IGN this morning or something, some online gaming news site, and just reading like comments and something like that. And of course, it always goes back to the argument: would you rather pay for Xbox Live, which is I mean, all your friends are on it. It's much more reliable in terms of just ease, I guess. Being able to get on there, talk to anybody you want to, or versus PlayStation's. It's free,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's very kind of spotty. There's
It gets
maintenance.
hacked.
Yeah, it gets hacked, goes down for a month, and you do get rewarded with free games if something like that happens,
Yeah.
though, I suppose. But
Yeah.
I'd hope so.
at the same time, PlayStation Plus, I feel like, is a really great kind of incentive to, you do have the free network, but you can pay for PlayStation Plus. I mean, they have a bunch of, premium titles that you can get on there and just, other content that
Yeah.
I think is really kind of a good, I guess, business model.
What about you, Mr. Cleric? I know you've played, or you've been an Xbox guy for a really long time, and I know you're pretty much leaning towards the PlayStation 4 at this point. Is there anything you feel like that the Xbox Xbox Live offers now, that if the PlayStation 4 doesn't have it or PlayStation Network doesn't have it, that's going to kind of give you a sour taste in your mouth?
Um, I mean, I guess just literally the same thing. It's just the online service. Because, like I said, I know it'll be improved, but I don't know. It kind of sucked to be drop $500 on a PS4 and then be like, well, this PlayStation Network sucks. uh, but I mean, I guess that's really the only thing holding me back as far as games. I mean, PlayStation's got way more exclusive titles, which is cool.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think that's and that's kind of goes on to my next topic. I was thinking about this today. I was like, what could Xbox say about their system? Obviously, not much to make it better than the PlayStation 4. Okay, then what about games that they're going to release, like in the release window, like we're in in the first few months that it comes out? Do they have an exclusive title that's going to draw me in? They don't have Halo anymore. I mean, they do, but it's not the same team. It's not the same game. It's a little bit different. And even still, they're not going to go ahead and release Halo 5. That's insane. So
Right.
what? Another Gears of War game? I'm sorry, you've done 3, and you pretty much ended the trilogy, and you did another one, and it was horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't horrible, but it was just a rehash. It was just milking money.
yeah, that's what I'm trying to think of. I don't really know of any. I mean, there's rumors a new Fallout game, but that's not an exclusive.
No.
Everything else is going to be on PlayStation that I know of, or at least that I can think of.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like for the Xbox, and I could be wrong. I feel like BioShock Infinite was like the not necessarily like swan song, but like to me, I'm like it's like Infinite is coming out. We know there's going to be another Xbox system coming soon, and I don't know. Looking into the future, there's no like games coming out. Granted, that did come out on both systems, but
Yeah.
you know, but I feel like the exclusives that PlayStation still has, like there's more to look for, like The Last of Us,
Yeah.
Beyond Two Souls. Like I feel like going later into the year, that is drawing me more towards PlayStation. Oh wait, and then there's a new system coming out, so you know you already have PlayStation on the mind with those
Yeah.
two games and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
so I feel like that's kind of a good build up. And as far, I mean, again, I
And
could
that's-
be wrong. There could be some gigantic Xbox title that I don't know of, but
PlayStation kind of has that history though, also of having those really really good exclusives. They had Tomb Raider by themselves. They had Final Fantasy for a long time by themselves, and they have like Ratchet and Clank and all these other games that are that have been exclusive and stayed exclusive for a really long time. Some of them eventually, like Final Fantasy, moved over to multiple consoles, but I don't
Man,
know.
like-
They just always have that ability to bring in these titles that not anybody else ends up having.
Yeah, like Killzone 4 looked freaking sweet
Yeah.
at their
It did.
conference. I'm looking forward to that.
see, I wonder though if that's you. Obviously, I mean, first person shooters are like, I mean that if you're making a game now and you want it to reach, the as
Yeah.
broad as you can. I mean, you're making a first person shooter, so to have a really good looking, really good first person shooter. I loved Killzone 2, liked Killzone 3, but to have like a launch title that is a really good looking, really, well playing first person shooter to come out and say, this is going to be on PS4 launch day, bam. I mean, I think that's kind of a strong foothold to start
Yeah.
off on as well.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. So, also speaking of, well, I don't know, launch titles in general, do you think, I mean, would, because what happened with the Wii U is they released the system. No, seriously, they released the system, didn't release any games.
Yeah, and
what
that's
is
what
it
killed it.
now, like 5 months into it, and there's a couple good games, but most of them are multi-platform. You have Monster Hunter 3, but that's also on the 3DS now, which I thought that kind of really stabbed it back into the Wii U. Like,
Right.
why would they cross-platform that? Like, you gotta sell this system. Why would you cross-platform one of the best games that you have
Yeah.
out right now? So, are you worried at all? Because I mean, yeah, I guess PlayStation announced Killzone 4, but it seems like titles keep getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. I mean, that's a very common occurrence and it has been for a really long time. If you ended up buying an Xbox 9000 or a PlayStation 4 and titles didn't come out, I mean, where would you go? I don't know.
I would probably just stay with what I have. I would keep my 360 and my PlayStation and just wait for, kind of the smoke
Yeah.
to clear and then make a decision. But
Yeah.
like I said, if there's some game coming out for launch, I know on either one, that I'm like, man, that really looks awesome. That's going to be the one I go for.
See, I guarantee you that the games that come out on launch are games that are also on the 360 and the PlayStation 3.
Right.
And that's what's going to drive me insane. That's absolutely going to drive me insane.
Wait, you don't think they're going to launch any exclusive titles?
Nope. No, because every game that they're announcing this year so far is, they say, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, Xbox 360, and all future consoles.
Right.
They're not saying this is for the PlayStation. I mean, there's a couple games that PlayStation obviously announced, but we don't know if those are going to be release days. Those could still be. I mean, the PlayStation 4 could come out in November, and those games could still not come out till next November. 2014 or whatever year it is. So, I don't know.
I I also feel like we're so far into this generation's cycle. It's like I feel like it's an investment. Like
Yeah.
like the three. I mean, and they've also gone through so many iterations. Like you started with the
Yeah.
white Xbox, and it had like like 15 gig hard drive or something like that. And then now I've got one of the Slims. It's got a 250 gig hard drive, and so it's almost like at this point, why do I need a new one if all the same games are going to be
Exactly.
coming? If I can play a new game on this one, that's fine. Why do I need to spend another $500 to
Yeah.
maybe it just look prettier?
Especially since the pattern is to eventually release a better version of what you've already released.
Right.
With the bigger
So
hard drive and a quieter and all that stuff. Okay, so let's go a little bit retro. Let's talk about your best memory of console releases. This will be our last topic of the show, so make it special. What's your favorite console release that you can remember in your lifetime?
Strong
Nitro.
John.
Yeah.
me, okay. I think the one that sticks out in my head the most, not necessarily as I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's generally the one that like when I think of game consoles, the one that sticks out in my mind the most is the Dreamcast. I remember when that came out. Like I still have one. One of my all-time favorite games is on that system.
Is it
But
the
for some,
House of the Dead?
it is not. It is Shinmu. I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly. It was like an open world, kind of third person RPG, sort of action adventure RPG. Won't go into the details. They made a sequel on the original Xbox.
Wow, I don't know if I've ever heard
But
of
anyway, um, but I don't know. I got the first game I had for it. I got it for one of my birthdays. I played. It was Rainbow Six. Was one of the first games I got for it. The controller had a memory card that would go into it, which you could play mini games on and take it out. It had a little A and B button and a D pad. I mean, it was
Yeah.
just
You could
I
get
don't
a
know. I
little
just remember
Tamagotchi for it if you had the Sonic games.
you. I don't. You
Is it-
could or
You could. It was like the little KO.
oh yeah. I remember that.
Yeah. It's like a Tamagotchi basically, but yeah. Anyway.
But I just remember. But of course, we all know it's Fate, and which I kind of feel like is happening to Nintendo right now. But
Yeah, they'll be all right. They have $14 billion, so
yeah, they'll be
they
okay.
just gotta step it up.
Yeah.
Anyway, how about you, Mr. Cleric?
Probably N64.
Mm.
That was kind of like my first console. So, and then playing freaking Ocarina of Time. That's probably
Yeah.
my favorite game of all time, and it's just a freaking epic system.
Yeah, I remember playing Ocarina of Time. Me and my best friend got 2 TVs and 2 N64s, and we played Ocarina of
Man.
Time side by side. And, like,
You had
beat
a
it.
multi-monitor setup, and it was 2 gigantic tube televisions stacked on top of each other.
Pretty much, something like that. We also used to play Command and Conquer Tiberian Sun that way, where we were in the same room. We had 2 copies of it on 2 different computers. This is before voice chat, so everybody thought we were cheating, but we just could talk to
Oh
each
my
other.
gosh.
Really
It
easily.
was like a sort of LAN party,
sort
Yeah.
of, but we were on the internet
right?
owning dudes. But yeah, I guess personally, I don't know. I definitely remember getting the Nintendo 64, but I didn't really get it like when it released. I got it like a little bit later. So and I got it with what was it? It was the Star Wars game.
Rogue Squadron.
No, it wasn't Rogue Squadron, and it wasn't Pod Racer. It's one where you played like as I don't know. You fought IG-88. Oh man, it was like
Shadows of the Empire.
Was that what it was?
Yeah,
Man,
that game. I
yes.
got that game. That game was amazing.
It was.
Why
so good.
isn't that a movie yet?
I don't
Can
know.
anybody
Right?
answer me that question?
I need to.
Dash Rendar is, dare I
Yeah.
say, on par with Han Solo.
But actually, for me, it was getting the Nintendo GameCube because I remember my cousins were getting the Xbox, and they're like, "The Xbox is awesome," and I was like, "Man, I'm getting a GameCube," which wasn't necessarily the best game out there, or the console best console probably out of that generation. But I definitely had a lot of fun with it. I got Luigi's Mansion, which is still one of my favorite games of almost all Nintendo games. That game was amazing. It was cartoony and it was silly, but it was still like really scary and creepy. I loved Luigi's Mansion, but
Well, why did it take Nintendo 11 years to make a sequel to Luigi's Mansion?
because they're dumb. They just don't. They don't understand that all they got to do is make their own games, and everyone will spend $1 billion. Like that's all they got to do is just make the games that they've always made. Just make a Metroid, make a Zelda, make a Star Fox, make a Mario.
Yeah,
And
Star Fox. What the heck? I love
Yeah.
that game.
Well, they screwed that over because they I don't even want to talk about Star Fox, but
And as far as this is what I was mentioning before we got started here, that isn't every game that comes out on Nintendo console an exclusive to it? Because nobody wants to develop for it, so they just get some kind of either Nintendo's first party or like some crazy bizarre third person like cooking
Yeah.
fantasy game
Yeah.
that's only on the Wii or Wii U. It's like
yeah, it was definitely that way for the Wii because the Wii was a lot harder to develop for. The Wii U, they've done a little bit more encouraging, but you still got the dual pad. It still confuses developers, I think, and scares them a little bit. But it's not. I mean, it's not impossible. It's a giant 3DS. People have developed games for 3DS.
I do think that there is like awesome potential there to do something, I don't know, really cool with, I don't know, some kind of game mechanic with the two different pads. So I think that,
Oh yeah.
I think it's, I mean, Nintendo, and it's there. I don't know that.
I mean, it literally is a giant DS, and they have made great games for the DS and the 3DS, so they can do it. They just got to do it,
Right.
and then they just need to let the. They should have made it. I don't know. I'm not.
That's
The problem
that's
is
for
they're not
another.
making their own games. Nintendo
That's a whole
64.
nother podcast.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Okay, last thing. Nintendo 64, day one release was Mario 64, and
Yep.
they have not released a game that good on day one since the Nintendo 64, and ever since then their consoles have suffered. I mean, the Wii did really good, but it was because it was a big gimmick. But
Yeah.
anyway, I think that's it. We actually made it 22 minutes
Wow.
talking nonstop. That's pretty good. So I want to thank everybody for watching. If you enjoyed the show, I want you to like, comment, and subscribe. If you didn't, I would still like you to